never again to see a blue sky, eat an apple, or head down to the pitch to see the latest AdVenture movie. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter here. I'm Plumpy from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.
After being cast as Hit Girl in the live-action adaptation of the comic book Kick-Ass, Chloe Grace Moretz became an It Girl. She's made over 25 movies since playing the pint-sized, foul-mouthed, ass-kicking. Her southern roots to her current acting hiatus, we've uncovered the facts about one of Hollywood's hottest young talents. Despite growing up in front of the cameras, you may not know everything about your favorite star. But fear not, CBR is here to help. Put on your learning caps and twirl your nunchucks. This is 10 things you didn't know about Chloe Moretz. Over a decade of experience. If you're under 20 years old, it might seem like Chloe Grace Moretz has been on screen since, well, forever. If you feel that way, you're kind of right. Her first role was on the legal television drama The Guardian. After appearing on a couple of other shows, including My Name is Earl, Moretz scored her first movie role in the independent film Heart of the Beholder. She plays the young daughter of a video store owner whose family business is threatened by religious zealots. Her first breakthrough came via the 2005 remake of the Amityville Horror, starring Ryan Reynolds as a sinister stepfather, possessed by the family's new house. Her role as daughter as Chelsea, who communicates with a not-so-friendly ghost, resulted in 7 more roles in television and movies. Family affair. Chloe's family, especially her mother, has always been supportive of her acting career, despite both of her parents being in the medical field. Growing up in Atlanta, Georgia, her father was a plastic surgeon and her mother a nurse. She also has 4 brothers, all of them older. Having them around during her childhood helped Moretz prepare for her more action-filled roles. She's extremely close with her family, as her mother always taught her that blood is thicker than water. Moretz describes her family as extremely close, maybe a little insane. She knows they may seem a little weird to those on the outside, but to them, it's a completely normal life, one she's proud to have. Brotherly advice. After her parents divorced in 2002, Moretz moved to New York City with her mom and brother, Trevor. They didn't go to kickstart Chloe's career, though. Instead, they went in hopes of her brother finding success in the Big Apple, as he was accepted into a prestigious acting program. When Big Brother practiced his lines, Little Sister would read with him, helping him prepare for auditions. It soon became clear that Chloe had serious talent, and she began going on her own auditions. As her small roles began to accumulate, Trevor chose to focus on his sister's talent. He now serves as her manager, mentor, acting coach, and more. He's had a few small parts in her films and served as a producer on several films, including Kick-Ass 2, Born This Way. Growing up, Moretz's family was always open and accepting. Despite this, 2 of her brothers struggled with their sexuality, finding it difficult to let everyone know they were gay. During their school years, both were bullied and picked on, something that greatly upset Moretz. These situations affected her stances on bigotry to this day. She's outspoken on individual rights, wise beyond her years, refusing to accept discrimination of any sort, regardless of race, gender, or sexual orientation. Her mother always taught her children to be inclusive of everyone, and Chloe followed suit. She's been known to block and report anyone that uses hateful speech on any social media platform, especially about her family. She's not British. By all accounts, Moretz is a straight shooting gal, not afraid to tell anyone what's on her mind. Honest to a fault, despite her young age. Still, when you really want a part, sometimes it pays to tell a little lie, or a big one, like what country you're from. When Martin Scorsese announced he'd be shooting his first 3D film, Hugo, Moretz desperately wanted a part. The only problem? The casting company only wanted British actresses. Since doing nothing never accomplished anything, she donned a wig and performed her video audition in her best British accent, one inspired by Gwyneth Paltrow's performance in Shakespeare in Love. It worked, and she kept up clues during her next few auditions, not actually letting Marty, her casual name for the famous director, know she was an American until she signed on the dotted line to appear in the film. Not just a pretty face. Helped by her natural beauty, Moretz has spent a lot of time in front of the camera over the last 10 years. However, not all of her roles require her to put on makeup. For 3 years, she played Darby, one of only 4 characters to appear in every episode of the Disney animated show My Friends Tinker and Pooh. In addition to voicing the role, Moretz also performed the theme song starting in the 2nd season. While working on the show, she was cast by Disney to be a voice in their next animated film, Bolt. She recorded designed for Penny, the young girl who cares for the confused David. The studio, looking for a bigger bump in publicity, ended up hiring one of the biggest names they had on the roster to voice Penny, Miley Cyrus. Moritz ended up recording the voice for her youngest character, seen in flashbacks. Method acting. For her role in Texas Killing Fields, she spent time with drug addicts in a rehabilitation center to understand why her character's mother chose drugs over her daughter. Since her character barely speaks in the 2013 remake of Carrie, she spent time with victims of abuse, studying their nonverbal cues, their posture, and their eye movements. These events surely helped her land the role of Alina, a teenage prostitute, in The Equalizer, starring Denzel Washington. The role was originally written for a 24-year-old, but Moritz seemed so savvy, so much older than her actual age in her audition, that the writers of the film adjusted the character in order to keep Moritz in the film. Loves the ink. Moritz celebrated 20 years of life getting a new tattoo, one located underneath her bosom. On her Instagram account, the actress revealed her newest ink. The phrase, "It only gets better," permanently etched onto her good page. This isn't the first tattoo for Chloe. She has a handful that we know about. She has her family initials on her hip, along with the LGBT pride color spectrum, a salute to her brothers and her stance on inclusion. In addition, Moritz has the numbers 4419 tattooed on her. The numbers represent the amount of miles, 4,419, that she drove across country when she turned 18. Likes younger men. We can't confirm that everyone that Moritz has dated is younger, but her most famous relationship is. In 2016, she announced that she was dating Brooklyn Beckham, who is 2 years her junior. Already pretty famous himself, being the son of David Beckham and former Spice Girl and current fashion designer Victoria Beckham. The couple's happy times were often documented on their various social media accounts, along with throngs of paparazzi. After a short time, it was reported that the seemingly happy couple broke up, while most of her male fans were pleased, feeling they actually had a chance. However, just recently, reports have been surfacing that the once happy couple might be back together. Each has left cryptic messages on their Instagram feeds, leading fans to believe the pair was once again in love. Acting hiatus. Proving she's not lazy, Moritz filmed an average of 5 movies in a year since breaking out as the potty-mouthed queen and kick-ass hit girl. The workload, along with the breakup from her boyfriend, may have been a bit too much, as she announced that she was pulling out from every movie role she was currently attached to, including a live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. While she does have several films already finished, waiting to be released, at this time she is not attached to any current films. She's producing a few television shows as she evaluates her future. She publicly stated that she's not done acting, just being more picky with her roles moving forward. After 10 years of being in front of the camera, she needed a little me-time. At only 20 years old, we can't wait to see what she does next. To ensure you don't miss awesome facts about your favorite subjects, subscribe to CDR now. Also, don't be stingy with your newfound knowledge. After you impress your friends with the new facts, like and share this video so they can get it. Thanks for watching.
To the one and only god of thunder, Thor. The hammer is famously known for only letting those who are worthy to wield it. Unfortunately, mighty. Generally, we know that only Thor is worthy. Did you know that there have actually been several other characters that have been able to wield the Mjolnir?
You think this is funny?
That's right. We compiled a list of some of them who've been lucky enough.
Please be my guest.
Before we get started, make sure you run over and hit the subscribe button. It'll make you fully worthy and keep you up to date with all of our latest content.
I don't think you've ever known.
Wonder Woman. Comic book fans everywhere can agree that team-ups are awesome, right? They're almost as epic as heroes battling each other. So if you're a fan of both Marvel and DC, which let's face it, most of us are, chances are you've asked yourself which universe is better. Who is stronger? Whose heroes would be evenly matched? Who is mightier, Wonder Woman or Thor? those who didn't know, there was an epic, mind-blowing crossover event that took place back in 1996. The event had superheroes from the DC universe pitted against heroes of the Marvel universe. And to make things even better, fans got to vote who would win. How cool is that? One event had Wonder Woman matched up with Storm,
Cute face from other worlds.
while Thor was matched up with Captain Marvel. Thor was able to defeat Captain Marvel through the use of his hammer, of course, but he lost his hammer in the battle, and Wonder Woman stumbled upon it. She was able to pick it up quite easily and got a serious jolt of power that gave her some serious edge over her opponent. Well, it turns out this honor also made her noble, and so she gave up the power because it gave her an unfair advantage. Well, it looks like she's pretty darn worthy, if you ask us.
Come on, Cap.
Captain America. If you could pick anyone from the Avengers who would be worthy of taking up mighty Mjolnir, who would it be? Think about it, but we think there's a definite clear choice.
Captain America. Would you mind? Oh, this is awesome. Captain America.
We would say our first choice would definitely be the patriotic hero himself, Captain America. And Steve Rogers has definitely proven himself worthy of wielding the hammer, not once, but on 2 separate occasions. The first instance came out in 1988 when Steve Rogers had abandoned his name to Captain America. He was then known solely as the Captain. Pretty snazzy, huh? Well, Cap visited his old pal Thor at the Avengers Mansion, except he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or right place at the right time. They were attacked by Grog and the Demon of Death, in which Thor was taken down, but Cap was able to be a bro and lift Mjolnir long enough to send it back to Thor. What a good friend. The second time was in the comic book event Fear itself. Here, the serpent had shattered Cap's trusted shield. What was he to do? Well, Thor was fighting with his uncle and lost his grip on the mighty hammer. Mjolnir then crash landed on Earth, and Cap lifted it up and assembled the Avengers once more. Awesome.
Come, Hulk. Our many arenas for glorious battle in Asgard. Shall lay claim to who is the strongest once and for all.
Hulk. A hammer's most basic function is to smash. Something into place. If you think of any heroes famous for their love of smashing, it would be our favorite green giant, the Incredible Hulk. Which leads us to a heated debate among fans. Who's the strongest, Hulk or Thor?
Come, friend Hulk. Taste the might of Mjolnir and witness your battle.
We know Hulk can crush and destroy, lift and toss, but is he strong enough to lift the mighty hammer? Well, thanks to Stan Lee, we had a chance to find out. Stan Lee took fans' ideas and interwove them into comic book stories. So a journey into mystery, Thor himself ended up getting into one of our favorite arguments over who was more powerful between him and the Hulk.
Hulk's strongest.
So in order to settle the score, the God of Thunder asked his father Odin to remove the worthiness enhancement on the hammer for a couple of minutes. This allowed Thor to accurately be able to see who's stronger. And guess what? Hulk was totally able to lift the hammer. Doesn't seem like much of a shocker, does it? We wonder if he would have been worthy enough of lifting it, enchantment and all.
We can take it now. We can take all of them.
Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's the Man of Steel himself. Perhaps the most famous superhero of all time has to be the one and only Superman. Kal-El is known for his alias Clark Kent, and his super strength, speed, and a plethora of powers. So does it seem natural that we would wonder if this lover of humanity and honorable hero is not only strong enough, but worthy enough to wield Mjolnir? Luckily, when DC and Marvel gloriously planned the crossover in 1979, we were close to the answer. In 2003, the Justice League and Avengers crossover was finally released, and we were definitely not disappointed. In the comic book series, Superman got his hand on the legendary shield of Captain America, as well as Thor's mighty Mjolnir. The Kryptonian superhero was able to actually use Mjolnir to smash it into an enemy, but when he tried to pick it up again and return it to Thor later on in the series, he was powerless to lift it. But why? How could he be worthy one second and not the next? Well, it turns out worthiness isn't something that is kept, but rather something that can change from moment to moment depending on specific actions.
I am the king of Asgard. I am the glorious puppet.
Look, but wield Mjolnir. One needs to be worthy. For power. But guess what? Loki has already achieved his ultimate. I heard that right. Not just about every version, Loki became the god. A new Avenger and conversely, Thor was because Loki is a good guy now. He finally becomes worthy of the hammer. But good things come to an end, and the inversion spell wears off, and Loki loses Mjolnir. Brother once again, forever sad Loki. Loki, god of sadness.
Not everyone moderates the hall like you.
Just promise.
Yeah, no.
Deadpool. A fan favorite for many reasons, the saucy merc with a mouth has surprisingly made our list.
I know, right?
Although Deadpool is a bit of a troublemaker and ultimate jokester, he does have quite a few redeeming qualities. So whether you believe it or not, Deadpool has had a chance to wield the powerful hammer. But just how did this wisecracking mercenary get the hammer? Right about here is where Deadpool would break the fourth wall and tell us.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
Loki manipulates Deadpool into stealing the hammer while Thor's on a heroic crusade, as per usual. Thor drops his hammer and the sneaky merc uses the battle to his advantage. Now, what can you imagine someone like Deadpool doing with this mighty hammer? Well, he did just what you would expect. He went to the carnival and played games, and used it as a baseball bat. But it turns out the hammer he was using was actually a fake created by Loki. The real one was still where Thor left it, only hidden once again by Loki.
You know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing happens to humans.
Storm. Who doesn't love the X-Men? One of the coolest characters aside from Wolverine is definitely Storm. And who better to include in this list about the God of Thunder's weapon than the mutant who can control the weather? Sounds like a recipe for something epic, right? In yet another awesome crossover event, Storm and the New Mutants ended up on Asgard. There were no huge issues except for Loki rearing his devious mind once again. Storm had lost her a new similar hammer called Stormcaster and gave it to her, which prompted her to become the Thorized version of herself and eventually broke free of his control and left Stormcaster behind. Wait a minute, we know what you're thinking. Stormcaster isn't Thor's hammer. Is she even worthy? Well, to answer your question, yes, she is very worthy. This was proven in another instance later on. She was once again given Stormcaster and she once again became her former goddess of thunder self, but instead of keeping her epic god powers, she picked up Mjolnir and destroyed Stormcaster. Although technically Thor was also holding it, we'd like to think she was worthy because she willingly surrendered her powers.
So there may be no way to make you trust me. But we need to go.
Vision. The hammer seems to be alive, and sometimes this hammer appears to make decisions on its own, especially regarding who is worthy of lifting it. For those of you who have seen Avengers Age of Ultron, you might remember a certain bright red character named Vision. Well, Mjolnir deemed him worthy in the film during a time when Vision needed to prove himself. During a party scene in the film, the Avengers are all gathered around trying to lift the hammer.
Whosoever be he worthy shall have the power.
Whatever, man, it's a trick.
It was simply a party trick, so there was no need for Mjolnir to evaluate worthiness. So when Vision came over and lifted it, it came as a huge shock. Vision was born pure of heart, free of evil, and therefore worthy of holding Mjolnir. The Avengers were skeptical of him, and he needed their trust. Perhaps the hammer sensed this and allowed Vision to gain the hero's trust. Or maybe it is like Tony Stark says, and it's because Vision is a human, and therefore the same rules don't apply to him. Why do you think he was able to wield the hammer?
You're no match for the mighty.
Thunderstrike. Most superheroes have human aliases they take on while not fighting crime and kicking butt. You know, it's always the elite work at work, right? So you can understand why an alias is important, especially when it comes to protecting your loved ones. And in the comic book world, these aliases run rampant. Thor had a human alias named Don Blake, but when he couldn't transform into Blake, he sometimes used Eric Masterson as his alias. Eric was a construction worker, a regular humble guy when he met Thor. He was merged with Thor for a while, which gave him the ability to use Mjolnir.
Look at you! They're all muscly and everything. How's space?
But once Thor returned, he was given his own enchanted mallet called Thunderstrike, and he also became the hero called Thunderstrike. Not too original, but we'll give him some points because it sounds cool. When Thor had first met Eric, he had a premonition that something bad would happen to Eric. This proved true while Eric was Thunderstrike and was forced to take on the powers of the evil Blood Axe. Like a true hero, he sacrificed himself to save the world. He was offered a place in Valhalla afterwards, but chose heaven instead. Pretty worthy guy, don't you think?
Name? He said it was Thor. Thor.
Jane Foster. Jane Foster is so awesome that Thor was even willing to renounce his godhood for her. Even considering turning her into a god, but, well,
King of Asgard.
as time has passed, Thor and Jane's romance fizzled out, but have remained close. And most recently, we have a female iteration of Thor.
Who's the chick with the hammer?
The whoever she is, I'm glad she's on our side.
This mystery woman turned out to be the one and only Jane Foster. At first, Thor had a hard time accepting the fact and tries to take back the hammer, but eventually comes to respect and give his blessing. To be fair, Thor initially rejected the idea of Jane wielding Mjolnir because she was undergoing chemotherapy for cancer. Although, once she fully transformed, she was totally healthy. While the transformation took place, her cancer was getting worse. So we can totally see there was some confusion, but it looks like Jane has turned out to be the most worthy of all.
Whosoever carrying Thor's fingerprints is, I think, the literal translation.
Yes, well, it's a very, very interesting theory. I have a simpler one. You're all not worthy.
Well, there you have it. There are just some of the characters that have lifted Thor's hammer. Which one was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, like and share our video. If you liked what you saw, check out more awesome content in our playlist. As always, thanks for watching.